make the rules here, but if I did, I'd have one regarding this head coaching search. No retreads. And, oh boy, morning to you. Good Wednesday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Penguins. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into football and or baseball, I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Pirates in the same place that you found this. We've done a lot of talking about Mitch Love on this show. He is, of course, assistant coach in Washington. The Capitals are, of course, the team that the Penguins seem to be, or at least should be, emulating more than any other in the Eastern Conference, given the way they've built up their roster. They've respected their older guys. They've helped Alexander Ovechkin to continue succeeding, really going way beyond succeeding. And Love and his own background also seem to be a really nice fit for what you'd want. Younger guy, he's 40 years old. He's coached in the WHL, coached in the AHL. As a player, he was a tough guy, even though he was undersized. There's just a lot of stuff here to like. And I didn't even mention, if he's used to working with Ovechkin and a couple of the other bigger names that the Capitals have, coming and working with Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin and the rest aren't exactly going to have him chasing them around for autographs. Now, as I say that, I'm informed, as of last night, by a source that, in general, DJ Smith's name should not be discluded or even downplayed in this particular dialogue. He is very much, according to this source, alive in this scenario. This excites me, my friends, not at all. This is not the kind of stuff I like to bring you, because I'm going to guess it wouldn't excite you very much either, certainly not after looking at Smith's resume. Now, he's 48, so it's not like he's ancient or anything, but he coached the Senators for 4.5 seasons, began in 2019, and he was fired fairly early in the 2023-24 season. His record over that time in Ottawa was 131 and 154. He never made the Stanley Cup playoffs. And the part that I really don't like about that is if you look at who the Senators have had for some or all of that time, you're talking about a pretty good little core of youngsters there. Brady Tkachuk stands out. I guess you could put Tim Stützle almost at that level as well. Drake Batherson is better than any of them whenever he's facing the Penguins, but he's still pretty good regardless. A couple of guys on the back end, and Thomas Chabot, Jake Sanderson. Nothing. They did nothing. They, as a collective, didn't get any better under Smith. Now, I'm not going to pretend to be some sort of expert / insider or whatever when it comes to the Senators, but you see them often enough in Pittsburgh, and you didn't see them really become anything that concerned anyone until Travis Green got them back into the playoffs this past season. And by the way, just a footnote here, that was the first time the Senators had been in the playoffs since Chris Kunitz beat Craig Anderson on that little flutter shot. So why would the Penguins be considering Smith, especially if you go back and really parse the press conference that Dubas had about a month ago? Well, in the interest of fairness and balance and all that, Smith and Dubas have had a long-standing relationship. That does matter in hockey. That has mattered to Dubas. Jason Spezza, Dubas' assistant, also, again, obviously, has deep connections with Ottawa. And it's not as if the Senators have been some model franchise over the past decade or whatever. They've been a mess on and off the ice, and that'd be really hard to just say, aha, it was that guy. But in the moment here, and just looking at this from the peripheral sense, there's nothing here that's exciting about this. Nothing. Zero. I'm going to try to stay open-minded through this, but my open mind right now is leaning a lot more toward the guy in Washington than this. When we come back, J1Q. This episode is brought to you by Bet Online, your number one source for all your summer sports needs this season, from Major League Baseball, golf, NHL, NBA playoffs. Get the latest odds and lines, including all team matchups, player props, odds on just about everything that's out there. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Bet Online, where the game starts. Today's J1Q comes from Mike, who says, DK, the remaining Boston vacancy might be telling. So is Mitch Love right now, DK, just taking his time deciding between the Penguins and the Bruins? A couple of points that I'll give the benefit of the doubt here for DJ Smith is that he coached under the ownership of Eugene Melnyk. It's definitely a strike. And Smith is well respected in a lot of hockey circles and is lauded as a smart coach. I'm sure he's learned a bunch from his experience in Ottawa. Mike, I appreciate both of those thoughts and happen to share those with you. Regarding your question, I don't know or really care that much who the Bruins would get, but the last I saw the names that the Bruins were considering, Love wasn't on that list. That doesn't mean there aren't other lists or that I was just looking at one that was maybe not as informed as some others, but what's commonly accepted is that they're down to 2 candidates and they're expected to announce their hire really any day now. Love was among those who had talks with the Bruins, but it's not known if he went to the next level and had the in-person interview. What might be of additional interest here is that of the names that the Bruins had among their final waves of talks, Smith isn't on there. So go right ahead and read into that whatever you might want. There's one reporter that I do trust in the Boston area enough to consider him a solo worthy voice in a process like this, who seems dead set on Marco Sturm as being the Bruins' choice. Sturm, if you don't go back this far, was a really solid two-way player for the Sharks for a lot of years and has also now coached for several years. He's never been attached to the Penguins, so this can work, in all directions. I don't know, man. We can do this all day. We can throw names around and whatever else. I'm going to keep my stance on this as simple and single-laned as it can get. I'm hoping for somebody who's got some ingenuity to them. I'm hoping it's someone who can genuinely coexist with the GM. I'm sure the GM is too, because that really helps whenever those two things are in sync. And thirdly, I'm hoping it's somebody who's just, let's have some physical play, physical presence in Pittsburgh again. Isn't it funny that over the past 4 decades, that the most vocal proponents for physical hockey in Pittsburgh have been the actual superstars? No one has ever coveted it more in this city than Mario Lemieux. But you know what? Sidney Crosby wouldn't be that far behind. Sid just doesn't He doesn't ruffle feathers whenever he brings it up, but he brings it up. He does it in his own way. So twinning this with another concept, here's how this should work. Dubas should sign Boko Imama to a multi-year contract and bring Imama to the press conference where they introduce Mitch Love and say, hey, everybody, here we go. Time to take care of Sid and buy him another year or two on to the end of his career. I appreciate the question. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Penguins. We'll be back with another one of these tomorrow.